Um, I never go out wanting to be arrested. It's one of the kind of, pitfalls of the trade, that when you're trying to prove a point and educate the police and educate the public, sometimes the vibrations become quite nasty, and the police, they know that if things get a bit too much, and because they're not allowed to walk away from the situation, well, they are, but their egos demand them that they have to do something. They will very often just arrest you, because what I hope people realize, and hopefully with your documentary they will, it's not illegal to be arrested. You're absolutely innocent until proven guilty. But what's ridiculous is that even though you're innocent, you can have all your liberty taken away and thrown in a box for 24 hours, or in my case in Canada for 50 hours. The royal wedding was a very interesting one, because I knew enough about the law to not trap myself on video by not admitting I'm going to do anything illegal. So I admitted that I was going to do legal things, as in attend, as in maybe megaphone. These are all legal things. And the way the police, and there I was sat in my house in Cambridge at the time I was living, and there's a gentle rapping at the door, and you see the panda car outside. You're like, for fuck's sake, and it's the royal wedding. I knew instantly they're coming to take me away. This is like Soviet gulag shit, political dissident. And what actually was, on March the 26th, there was a big protest in London, and Fortnum and Mason's got twatted in London. I don't know if you saw. Thousands of UK Uncut people went into Fortnum and Mason's, which is like the Queen's John Lewis, and they destroyed the place. £50,000 worth of stock gone, and champagne bottles and everything. And I went in to film, and I filmed in there, and then when the police said, could you guys all get out, I left because I was filming. I wasn't, But the way they managed to arrest me before the royal wedding was aggravated trespass for the Fortnum and Mason's thing. But here's the better one, 1,000-year-old law. Conspiracy to commit a public nuisance at the royal wedding. And the evidence they used for that was on my YouTube videos. And I said during the police interview, but so are you going to really present to the court that I've conspired with 15,000 people that have watched that video? I've not met any of them. Like, how is this a conspiracy? You need more than one guy for there to be a conspiracy. Anyway, they dropped all the charges, but they dropped the charges basically when the Sky News coverage of the royal wedding had ended. And I got allowed to go home. Very trippy. The detective that came to interview me, a guy called John, was, do you know what his surname was?
What? No.
John Webster.
Was it?
Yeah. It was John Webster.
Hiding behind the light.
Yeah. He was a David Icke fan, of all people, that got the call to come and interview Charlie Veitch for the royal wedding arrest. And he knew who I was. On the drive to London, because he had to transfer me in the car to London, we stopped twice, went out for coffee, no handcuffs, cigarettes, and we're just chatting. And he had to do his fucking job, but he did the minimum he needed to do to kind of grill me and ascertain I wasn't a terrorist. And it was ridiculous, because it goes to show that we are all cricket and gentlemanly and everything's liberal and you have free speech until there's royals involved. And what pissed me off most about all that was how it very clearly showed the difference between the blue bloods and the peasantry. And even my MP, the Cambridge MP, who is one of the few Lib Dems to vote against the Iraq War, I forget his name, some ginger bald guy MP, he shouted at Theresa May in Parliament about me, saying, well, what the hell are you doing to one of my constituents? He got rounded up like a Soviet prisoner in the Stalinist roundups of St. Petersburg. Like, what the hell? But they covered their ass. They had the Fortnum and Mason thing, aggravated trespass, because the conspiracy to cause a public nuisance, what the fuck? They dropped that the same day that they arrested me. The barristers or whoever, the legal prosecution people said, no. And, but every cloud has a silver lining. My public profile, because I was in The Guardian, The Telegraph, Guardian Online, The Independent, CNN, Sky News, suddenly my videos became a lot more popular. So thank you, stupid British establishment, for creating a bigger problem by trying to snuff one out. So that's probably my second most interesting police interaction. My most interesting police interaction was Toronto. But because I've spoken about that till I've died, like they've made Into the Fire. Have you seen Dan Dix's documentary about Toronto? John, you'll have seen that, won't you?
I think I saw one.
Yeah. I got a $20,000 payout from the Toronto police.
Did you?
Yeah, for basically psychological torture and false imprisonment. It was a payout. It was out of court settlement. We were suing for $350,000, but rather than wait 10 years to not get the money, I thought, yeah, give me the money now.
Yeah. Rock and rolling.
Can you talk about policing by consent?
Yes, I can. An inspector called Inspector Cocaine, not spelt the drug way, but Cockayne, Inspector Cocaine at, was it Chelsea police station when my megaphone got confiscated 4 years ago, the first time round, before I knew anything about the law. We interviewed him and he started ranting about how in Britain we are policed by consent and that's why it works. I don't know what definition of consent he's using, but maybe a communist one where if like enough of the people consent, that's it, everyone consents to the police. Or maybe the democratic ideal of consent, that more than half are consenting. But in practice, in theory, yeah, beautiful theory, how libertarian we are. The people who have the monopoly on violence, they do it by consent. But in practice, it doesn't work. Like, I've been lucky a couple of times in videos. There's a video I did called How to Escape a Terror Stop when the London police were section 44ing everyone, you know, left, right, and center. And I said, look, they were going towards me to do the search, you know, the big skinhead. I said, look, I don't consent. I'm a sovereign human being. And I think it was more the camera that saved me rather than the fact that I'm telling them, you know, I don't consent.
The police will probably search you and your accomplices.
I'm sorry?
How am I going to search
Accomplice?
Oh, no,
why?
I refuse to be searched, because I will then report you
wait
to
a
these
second.
officers under section... I'm actually feeling offended. Sorry? No, under section 44.
Why must he be searched? May I ask just a simple question?
Please don't touch me. Please respect my physical dignity. Don't touch me, and I will not touch you guys. But I am sovereign over my human body, and I do not consent to any search. I do not consent to any authority you feel you have over me. I am a sovereign British citizen, and I do not wish to be searched. Okay? Please respect that. But the practice of policing by consent, I don't think any guy or woman or guy, whoever gets arrested, is consenting to be arrested, so it's fucking bollocks. Like, say I grew loads of weed, and say I was selling £10,000 worth of weed a week. I would certainly not consent to the police busting my door down with a warrant or not, and taking my weed away and throwing me in jail for 3 years. So, I think what it means is that enough Daily Mail reading, bigoted elderly people who, let's be honest, are the most of the voting public. Because young people are too busy to vote, or they're too apathetic. So what we have, unfortunately, in this country, in the free democracy, is the most pissed off, bigoted elderly people with time on their hands are the voters, the people that bother to register to vote. And they consent to drug dealers being manhandled and thrown away for 10 years. They consent to the police doing random searches on black people in South London because they're the hysterical, bigoted, fascist almost voters that read the Daily Mail. And they love it. They love seeing police crack down on a squat with a bunch of like poor little Romanian like construction workers tend to a room. They love it. Fucking get them on the first ship back to Romania. And I think that when they say they police by consent, they police by the consent of the bigoted mainstream.